What's up, guys? I've just played a tournament, actually finished the tournament. I won the tournament in my city. I was the second favorite according to a rating, and I just want to show you one of the most important games from the tournament against my ex-student, my good friend, FIDE master Stefan Mladenovic, rated 2380 in Blitz. And this was a very nice game. You know what? I just played Butcher the Sicilian. Hope you're going to enjoy it. And you just have to consider that this game probably decided the winner of the tournament. So I was white, and I just went with my favorite e4 move. He played c5, and I played nothing else but knight c3. But as you know by now, I'm not announcing any boring close Sicilian or a little bit overused Grand Prix attack, but I just want to go with something that I published out in my book, Butcher the Sicilian. Black has 5 moves, and he told me that he's been analyzing g6, what basically Anish Giri suggested in his course. Against Butcher the Sicilian. I played d4, and I already go for something very modern and something that I covered in the book as a brand new variation. After c takes, queen d4, knight f6, I played bishop e3. That's the cutting edge theory. I believe that white has a better position, and turns out that this variation is really good for white because it just transposes into many variations of, or has some interesting, let's just say, similarities in some positions, even same type of games with the dragon. So after knight c6, I played queen d2, and a round earlier, I played against another guy, knight g4, and I managed to get a great position out of the opening. The guy played bishop g7, f3, castles, long castles, d6, and knight g2. And whoever bought my book, and I guess there are many of you who bought it, so far I just told you that here the whole point of my course against this second move g6 was to prove the fact that the knight on e2 can actually be even better than having the knight on d4 like in the classical dragon. And so far I just believe that I managed to prove that point, and I believe that I'm the one who made a really, really good and prosperous analysis for white against second move g6. Stefan was my student for a couple of years, and I taught him to play the dragon, and he's a really good dragon player, so he decided to treat this Butcher the Sicilian with bishop d7 and rook c8 in a typical dragon fashion. I played king b1. I always teach my son, put the king on b1. It can hardly be mistaken, probably 1% of cases, and in 99% of the cases, whenever you play long castle, put the king on b1 and it can only be useful. He went for rook c8 and I went for h4. He played knight e5, threatening knight c4. For all of you who don't have any experience with these positions, it's very important to once again repeat, you're never supposed to allow them to play knight c4 and to take your dark square bishop away. Here, I went for something that present like one of a certainly essential points of Butcher the Sicilian lines. In the normal circumstances, I believe that Sicilian players go with the knight d4, but I didn't go for that. I went for knight f4. And you know what? I now remember a game that I played against Arkady Naiditch, a pretty famous GM from Germany and afterwards Armenia, and 2700 FIDE, and I crushed him once with white pieces in a razor attack with, I believe he was streaming. And ever since then, I always put my knight on f4. What's the point? The point is that if they ever go with h5, which my opponent didn't do, you just play bishop e2, and you instantly go with g4 and h5 with even faster and I used to call this accelerated version of attack on the king side against the dragon positions. You Another thing is that after knight f4, for example, if they don't play this move, Stefan played b5, and he's willing to sack this pawn for the open b file, and he's also willing to push b4 to organize counter chances on the queen side. I played h5, and here comes the point of having the knight on f4. They should never play g5 because we have this crucial intermezzo move h6, and this intermediary move actually decides the game in our favor. After h5, b4, I just jumped on d5. And here, he started thinking and spent roughly minute and a half on position and played eventually rook e8. After the game, I told him that probably this was a crucial mistake in the game and that he was supposed to play e6. I was intending to take and to play bishop d4 in order to oppose potentially dangerous diagonal and knight c4 threats, or knight f3 threats. So I was intending to play like this, and I believe that I have better game with the white pieces here. He played rook e8, I played h takes, and he played f takes. I instantly played knight f6, and ever since I took an f6, I realized that there must be a nice tactics. So get ready for something really attractive, for a spectacular combination that Big the Butcher can only come up with in similar situations. He didn't play bishop f6, he took by pawn. And I wasn't interested in pawn on d6, of course. I just played queen d5 check. He had to put his king on h8. And here, my big combination begins. I instantly played the next move because that's an importance of analyzing games and remembering these typical ideas. Here, I was familiar with the following idea from some other analysis and some other dragon positions. So I went with bishop a6. And my point when I played bishop a6 wasn't to take this rook. My point was to actually open up both of these rooks on the back rank. And if you're wondering why, let me show you. He played rook c7, which is a little bit better move and gives him better defensive resources, but not enough. And this is a puzzle position. We gotta put the diagram here. I gotta tell you guys, stop the video and try to find the winning combination for white. For all of you who stopped the video and who found the knight g6 move, congratulations, and yes, you can be just like me. So I played knight takes g6, and I need it in order to open this bishop on e3 and to have like control of the h6 square. For all of you who just don't understand what's the point of this, he captured. So after I sacked the knight, now I sacked the rook. So first I sacked the knight, now I sacked the rook, he captured, and I played rook h1. Now you understand. Queen, bishop, and rook. That's why I needed this rook, bishop on a6, in order to release rook from d1 to go on h1 and to mate the king. King cannot go to d8. He's literally in mate. He has to play something, and all of a sudden he played a little bit funny move. If I was black, I would resign. But he found an interesting defensive resource. And when I captured, he played bishop h6. Here I thought about taking by rook, but I decided to take by bishop. Because take a look at this great control of the queen and the bishop, and rook on h3. Rook e5 he played. I played bishop f8. King has nowhere to go. Played knight h4. I captured. Played king g6. And I checkmated again. Just once again, after this was really only, I would say, convincing and straightforward good game in typically my style from the tournament. I just made here on the channel like a news that I wasn't satisfied with my play in the tournament at all. But okay, in the end, performance was pretty good. I just have to tell you one more thing. For the first time, my son was competing in this competition and tournament, and amongst 33 guys, he took 26th place. Nice. and pretty good when you watching him playing against even guys of my level. Thank you so much for watching, and hope you once again enjoyed in butchering the Sicilian in our cutting edge fashion. Thank you. Bye bye.